So is this beautiful or what? This is my love. She's beautiful,
love
right?
It. I bet you can't clone me, Coby.
Can't what? What are you talking about? Whoa, what's going on? What are you doing? Can't what?
I bet you I can. Challenge is accepted. Now to clone you, I had to figure out exactly where you are. I saw you lick the head of a 20-foot rainbow python. And on the guy's hat, it said the Reptile Zoo. I did a Google search for the Reptile Zoo. It's a crazy zoo in California, owned by this guy, Jay Prehistoric, the one in your video. He's world famous and has over 5 million subscribers on YouTube and 6.7 million on Instagram. I even got the exact address. It was 1 hour and 42 minutes away from me. I took my cloning kit in my hand and drove straight to the Reptile Zoo. Once I arrived, you wouldn't understand this place is absolutely humongous. So I knew it was gonna be extremely hard to sneak in and get your DNA off the head of the snake. I came to the first pillar of the building and looked both ways to see if anyone was there. When the coast was completely clear, I walked inside and went to the restricted area. This is the spot where they have every single animal in the whole zoo. I started going through every single enclosure looking for the rainbow snake that you licked. I first came across a beautiful tiny alligator, but I was there for the rainbow python, so I kept looking. I then saw a beautiful massive 200-pound albino python, and in the cage above it was a Komodo dragon. That thing looked absolutely insane. I never seen anything like that in my entire life, but I kept going to find the rainbow python. I checked if the coast was clear and went to the next section of the reptile zoo. There was a full-grown crocodile or alligator. This thing was absolutely insane. There was 2 of them. Up close, these animals are beautiful and they're amazing to actually see in person. I kept walking to the next part of the reptile zoo. Next, I seen another massive lizard. This thing was beautiful as well. I wanted to swab the lizard's DNA so I could clone him later, but I didn't have time. I'm on a mission to find the rainbow python that you licked, so I kept going. There was hundreds of animals. There was another lizard over here. This thing was absolutely beautiful, and I kept looking for the rainbow python. Next, I seen these massive enclosures, so I knew the snake probably had to be in one, so I looked carefully in every single one. I had almost got caught, but I kept going. As I'm turning the corner, you won't believe what I seen. The rainbow python that you licked. I went right up to the enclosure to check the locks to see if any of them happened to be open. The first lock was completely locked up and was not moving. I went to the second lock. I was praying to God, please let that lock be open, and guess what? It came right off. I was in luck. All I had to do now was swab the DNA off the top of the snake's head. I went entirely inside the snake's enclosure. He made a hissing noise right at me, so I got completely scared. When snakes make this noise, it doesn't mean they want to attack you. It means that they feel your nervousness. He then went into attack mode and was ready to strike me at any point. I almost completely gave up of getting your DNA off his head. Finally, I faced my fears and put the Q-tip directly on the snake's head and swabbed it not once, but 2 times. I had complete contact with the Q-tip to the snake's head. I checked it out to make sure the DNA was on there, and it looked absolutely amazing. I put your DNA Q-tip swab in my chemical grade case and closed it up.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Hey!
The owner, Jay Prehistoric, chased me out of his reptile zoo. I ran for my life, but I didn't care. I got the DNA Q-tip swab. I put it inside my bulletproof casing and went back to my laboratory to clone you. I safely made it back to my laboratory with your DNA in my case. I opened it up. I carefully took out the undamaged DNA chemical grade case with your DNA inside. It looked completely sealed, so I knew it was gonna be good. I used sterile tweezers and looked at the DNA closely. You can see it right there on the Q-tip. I then had my assistant hand me a sterile agar plate. I placed your DNA Q-tip inside the agar plate. My assistant then hands me a bottle of blue Prozac liquid. I then completely drown your DNA inside the liquid. What this will do is make it completely sterile, so when I look under my microscope, it can see the DNA cells. Put the agar plate underneath my $17,000 microscope. I put it on 300x zoom in with a few adjustments. I was able to see directly into the DNA cells. I had my lab assistant check it out to make sure everything was okay. He gave me the thumbs up and said it was moving perfectly. This is exactly what we were seeing underneath the microscope. You can see the bacteria and different DNAs moving around. Now, what we have to do is take and extract the certain DNA cells. So, for the next step, what we do, I take the red carcinogen, which is inside my hydrated cylinder. I then pour just enough into the agar plate to secrete the entire DNA Q swab. I then take the agar plate and place it inside my DNA oven. This is a special type of lab oven that gets to over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. I close it up and let it sit for 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, it was time to streak the agar plate. You can see me doing it right there, those jelly-like substance, and I make the line. I place the instrument inside my Benson burner and heat it up. This is the tool used to extract the DNA cells that are gonna form on the top. The white are the cells that are ready to be cloned. I dip the Benson burner instrument inside my chrome solution, then extract each individual DNA cell. After incubation, this is you after 4 weeks old, and if everything goes correctly, soon I will have you for myself.